All right. In 3, 2, 1. Yo, everyone. You're listening to Filmmaker Mike and the boys. Joining me for this episode is the return of the one and only Pinhead.
I'll tell you, it's going to be a long night of slow singing and flower bringing. I'll tell you, because this shit was this was an abysmal couple of weeks, but it's good to be back on to cry about it, because some people, I can tell, they have their head buried in the cocaine bag.
Well, it's good to have you back, brother. Kuya
is to be back.
Yeah, Kuya is celebrating his anniversary with the wifey. So happy anniversary to them. I was hoping we could be complete for this episode, but I figured, you know what? That's okay, because I'm sure there'll be another chance when you can join us again and we can all have a complete crew. And Jester will be catching up in the show at some point, so he should be catching up. But we're going to kick things off. I'm guessing this will be appropriate just in time for Halloween when I get to upload this episode. So we're going to kick things off with a brand new Halloween movie that's, it's got Halloween in the title, and it's Halloween Ends. So I can't wait to hear Pinhead's review, most awaited review. Does this series finally end, or are we going to see another?
Oh, it ends. It ends, and thank God it ends. But after pulling in 43 million this weekend, it's going to reboot again, because there's no way this movie can be made again. There's no way this iteration of Halloween can do, unless there's some kind of magic, like magic runes come in, like in the producer's cut of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, because this ends. It ends. Honestly, this is one of the worst movies I've seen in the last 15-20 years. This is an absolute mess, and this bullshit that, first of all, I'm getting sick. It's already been 2 nights, and I'm already sick of all the YouTubers and the people out there, and even the critics who are writers are egregious of this. This is going to defy the fan base. No fucking shit, because it's a mess. A group of idiots said, well, it was subverting your expectations. This is the Last Jedi of Halloween franchise. No, it's not. The Last Jedi, whether you liked or disliked it, was a coherent film. This is the Rise of Skywalker of Halloween, because they're just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
Oh, man.
The best analogy I can give to this movie is, like, remember when we were in high school and we would take tests and we knew we didn't study for those tests, and for the most of the time during the test, we'd sit around and daydream and we'd do nothing with the test, and then the teacher would go 90 seconds and then we'd rush in there and put in all these answers knowing they were wrong, but we'd still do it to fill in blanks and then turn it in.
Yeah,
that is what Halloween Ends is. It's literally a rushed-in, turned-in test.
Wow.
To just fill in blanks so that we can get something done and end the trilogy. 2018, I really enjoyed. For all of its flaws, I did enjoy the 2018 Halloween. Then COVID happened, and I understand that they had to back away, but in the time that they did it, they fucked with the story, they messed with it, and we got Halloween Kills. Now, how I don't love Halloween Kills, and I've gone on record of saying how I wanted to kick the shit out of the people for making Halloween Kills, because Halloween Kills is literally a murder simulator of Michael Myers just seeing how many bodies he can stack to the ceiling before the movie's over. This movie goes in the completely opposite direction, to where there's no Michael throughout most of this film.
What?
That's subverting the expectation. So it's like having a Star Wars film without Jedis, without lightsabers,
maybe
without
Luke
space
Skywalker.
battles. Yeah, without space battles. It's just literally, let's just say, androids walking around going and looking at the ceiling for a while. And once again, I am over this nonsense and horror of the trauma-based horror films. We get it. We get it, Gen Z. You've seen the most plight that any generation's ever seen. fuck the 60s and the civil rights movement and even slavery. You guys have suffered even more than everybody throughout any generation. We fucking get it. And it's also a message movie where it just hammers the message over. It's like the scene with Keenan Ivory Wayans and Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, where every other scene he comes out, he's like, message. And then another scene goes by, he's like, message. And then by the end of the movie, it's like he's the baby screaming, message, to the top of his lungs. Like, we get it. Yes, Halloween Kills kind of did that with the mentality of how the mob mentality can consume a group of people. And it was they can try and deny it all they want. It was mob mentality, especially after the January 6th thing. So they followed through with the Trump shit. We get it. With this movie, it's not as egregious, but it's still a message trauma-based film where one of the biggest problems I have is some of the goofy shit, like Michael looking into, because we get a new character. So for those of you that haven't seen it, I just say turn it off right now, because I'm going to have to say some of this shit to get this off my chest, and it will be spoiled slightly. We have a new Richie Cunningham or Cody Cunningham or whatever the fuck his name is. And the movie starts off, and this isn't even a huge spoiler because it's right off. He accidentally murders a child. And now the town hates him because he went through a trial. He was acquitted. It was manslaughter over murder because he didn't really murder the kid. The kid played a prank on him, locked him in a basement. He freaked out and kicked the door open. The stupid kid was right by the door. It smashed it. It literally turned into a violent Three Stooges. The kid got smashed in his face, fell over the cliff of the balcony on the top floor of his house, and fell to his death and broke his neck.
Holy shit.
It was like Three Stooges from hell. I'm like, okay, now, and it's a perfect starting off point to this nonsense we get. So, of course, after that happens, they go to trial. You don't see it, but they hint about it. He gets off. And the entire town hates him because he's a child murderer. That's the inciting incident for. We go to the sewer like it's it, and Michael Myers is Pennywise. Well, now Michael grabs the kid and he can transfer his power with a look. He looks at you, and now you get the evil sucked inside your body, and now you're a ravenous murderer.
What?
They're so inept at their job that they can't even figure out the bare basic fundamentals of what a Halloween is. And fine, I understand trying to do something different with the franchise because this is the 75th fucking Halloween movie. We get it, just like we've had 39 Friday the 13th and 72 Nightmare on Elm Streets and even 45 Texas. We get it. I understand you're trying to do something different. But when you take a Halloween movie and Michael Myers is literally his grand total screen time, if you stretch it out, is 10 minutes.
What?
This movie is an hour and 50 minutes.
Wow.
And the kills, except for a few, and we'll have this problem with Hellraiser once I get to this rule. I don't understand this. Werewolf by Night was more violent than Halloween Ends and Halloween and Hellraiser. I'm not understanding this.
Whoa.
And the only reason why Werewolf by Night got away with it is because they're in black and white. But technically there is far more violence in a 56-minute Marvel callback to an old Hollywood horror. There's more violence in Werewolf by Night, which I loved. It was fantastic. I had a great time with it. My only complaint is it should have been longer. Should have been a full-fledged featured film because that thing, it had more violence than Hellraiser and Halloween Ends. How? This is insanity. And this is why I hate the modern horror movie. Between trauma-based storylines and inept writer. This movie had 4 writers on it.
Jeez.
including Danny McBride and David Gordon Green, the director. 4 writers wrote this film, and this is the best they could come up with. But Pinhead, it's subverting expectations like The Last Jedi. No, because The Last Jedi was a coherent film. This was a fucking mess. This was a mess. And yes, Halloween does end. I will not say it because this movie's only been out going for a 3rd day. So I'll let it go. But yes, what they do to Michael, there ain't no coming back. And like I said earlier, unless they do the magic runes and there's magic involved, like fucking Willow or Lord of the Rings, and they bring back the magic runes from the producer's cut of Curse of Michael Myers, Mikey ain't coming back. There's no way. It involves machinery, and there's no machinery that destroys cars. There's no way he's coming back. There's no fucking way. And like I said, unless you bring back the magic runes, there's no way he's coming back. And this bullshit about trauma and all this nonsense. Laurie Strode has been through this for 40 fucking years. This will be the 43rd year. Now she's just a homemaker, and I get it. She's trying to move on. The motivation is so stupid because she goes from Halloween to where Halloween Kills. It's all about her. The evil's gotta die tonight, and we gotta stop it. The beginning of Halloween ends where she's Mrs. Martha Stewart, homemaker. She's making pies and baking pies and making turkeys and putting her hand up chickens.
Watching some Hallmark movies.
Yeah, it's literally a Hallmark movie. And then in the last act of it snaps back to, it's always been my destiny to end Michael.
Bad bitch time.
Yeah, exactly. It's always been my destiny. And one of my favorite characters, Allison, I forgot the young actress's name, but she was one of the shining parts through both of these films. Her motivation is, my pussy's wet. I want to fuck this Richie Cunningham character. I don't know, like it's the
All
first
right.
frame, the first frame she meets him. The first frame she meets him, she's like, she's known him for 2 minutes. And the first frame she meets him, she's like, I'm gonna jump his bones, rip his clothes off, and want to fuck his brains out, raw dog him on the bathroom table.
Okay.
Nice. Sweet.
Like this is the ineptitude I'm talking about, where we're just throwing shit at the wall and just I hope it sticks. David Gordon Green is an inept hack at his job, and God, I'm kind of glad that he's not, because we're mum on the Hellraiser thing of the series. The series is probably not happening now because his next project after this, he's ruined Halloween. His next project is the Exorcist trilogy that he's doing with Blumhouse once again.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah,
boy.
I can't wait for that because you did such a smashing job with Halloween Ends.
So sorry to interrupt you, but it's the actress that plays Aunt Lydia from The Handmaid's Tale. She's gonna be in that Exorcist movie.
I know, and I'm like, you're better than this. One thing I will say is I want to see what happens because he's inept at doing a Halloween film. This has been proven 2 times. I'll give him 2018 because 2018, for all its flaws, they had set up some good shit. Coincidentally, this wasn't going to be the original movie. I read the original 2018 script, and it's far better than anything that this was going to be. It was going to be Halloween Returns. It would have been a great setup for 3 movies, but because the Weinstein incident happened, Dimension lost the rights to it, and it went to Jason and his Bumhouse Productions. So now we're here where we're at. I gotta tell you, I hated Blonde with Ana de Armas. I thought that was the worst film of the year.
Yeah.
Halloween Ends came in and said, hold my fucking beer. It's not even a contest.
Oh man.
If I could give this movie less than 0, I would. But I'm going to be nice because, especially now that it is official, it's not just the end of Michael Myers, but Jamie Lee. I read it in Vanity Fair. Jamie Lee signed a document stating in writing that she will never play Laurie Strode ever again as long as she lives. This is it for her. You can't drop the bag anymore. So this is the end. So because it's the end for Mikey and Laurie, it's a 2 out of 10. And I'm being nice giving them that. Because like I said, the level of ineptitude and incompetence in this film, this movie is like a 10, 11-year-old high off Skittles and Pixie Sticks. It can't sit still. 1 minute it's over here, then the next minute it's over here, then the next minute it's over here. And it's like, just settle down, you little fuck, and focus your ADD and write a coherent story. And that's what David Gordon Green is. He is an 11-year-old child high off Skittles and Pixie Sticks. This movie was the biggest pile of grot I've ever seen in a long time. And it's not just because I'm disappointed. There was great potential. Even in Halloween Kills, you could have course corrected, but you were too busy worrying about making an art house, once again, elevated horror movie. Ooh, and you failed. You failed at even making that. So it's a 2 out of 10, and they're lucky to get that. Every character that you fell in love with was thrown in the trash heap. Michael Myers, we went from making him the unstoppable juggernaut to a guy who has an Igor limp, who can, a small gust of wind can blow him over. And I don't want to hear this excuse that, well, it's been 4 years. He's been in the sewers. He got fucked up. Yeah, you already established in Halloween Kills he was unstoppable. I think after being that unstoppable 4 years to heal his wounds, you guys said it in the last movie, every kill he makes, he gets stronger. I think a 4-year gap would have built his strength tolerance up even higher. The only excuse they give to it is because the Myers house was destroyed and now he doesn't have a home base to go back to. But I counter your argument with, you don't get that pass because David Gordon Green and Danny McBride and company wrote in the story from the get-go that the mask is his essence. The mask is his power. Even in Halloween Kills, when his mask is off and they beat the shit out of him and don't even shoot him and don't take him down, what stops him? It's not he was weakened and done. What happens? He puts the mask back on and he rises like the fucking Undertaker in the WWE and obliterates everybody and kills Karis. And that's how the movie ends. So we know it's the mask, not the house. You guys are not even good enough to follow through with your own lore that you established. So it's a 2 out of 10 and they're lucky to get that.
All right. Well,
God, I hated this movie.
What's up, Jester?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Hey, I missed you.
I miss you too, baby, man. You look good over there. How's NC?
It's all right. It's like bumblefuck nowhere. There's just sticks and pricks out here, but hey, it's what it is.
You missed some of what Pinhead said earlier about. Could you repeat what you said about what people are saying that it's the Last Jedi? And
people are saying that this Halloween film is the Last Jedi of Halloween films. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the fucking Rise of Skywalker because it's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess.
Oh man!
Like at least in the Last Jedi, Luke had a cool ass fucking battle, regardless of if he was actually there physically or not. Michael wasn't even there except for 10 minutes just to be literally thrown in the trash can.
Yeah.
In an industrial, he was literally just brought in so he could have a squash match with Laurie and then thrown in an industrial trash and dumpster. That's great. So.
And much like Rise of Skywalker too, in Rise of Skywalker, they introduced new characters, which were cool, but we don't really have time for, like at the end of it, like, did it matter? Not really. No. Did it make an impression or did they steal the scenes?
No.
Not really. You know what I mean?
And the problem I have with this movie, and we'll wrap it up there, They even take away kills from the last movie. There's a woman that yes, in Halloween Ends, they literally take away a critical kill. And everybody's seen. If you haven't seen it at this point, you're not gonna see it. There's a kill in Halloween Kills where a woman gets jabbed in the throat with a fluorescent light tube by Michael, and she's left to bleed to death. And you're like, there's no way this bitch is surviving. Wrong. In Halloween Ends, their adjustment to that is she no longer has a voice box. She's in a wheelchair for the rest of her life, but she's still alive.
Wow.
Are you fucking kidding me? Not only was she brutally beat over the head by Michael Myers, he jammed a spiky part of a fluorescent light tube into her fucking aorta and she bled to death. How, Sway? How?
So it's a Hallmark movie. It's a miracle.
To be quite honest, it's a soap opera because you can be shot 20 times and then like 3 months later you're back. Like Victor Newman Returns. This is like, ridiculous.
It's like George of the Jungle, man, where the narrator's like, "No worry, nobody dies in this story."
Exactly. Don't worry, people. No black ladies were harmed in the making of this movie. We'll bring her back in a wheelchair and make her a mute. Like, this is so stupid. Now that I think about it, that because of that, you revoked a point. It's 1 out of 10. Thank you. You just remind you're 1 out of 10. Halloween Ends. The point was revoked. God, what a piece of dog shit.
So now we're gonna move on to another horror movie that I think you liked a little bit more, according to our group chat. Hellraiser.
I liked it better the 17th time I watched it.
Okay.
I've seen this 8 times now. By the way, my mom hated it.
Oh,
and
really?
she's a huge Hellraiser fan. My mom hated it. One of the things I'll say right off the bat, and I'm not going to try and spoil it for anybody because this hasn't been out that long either. It was last week. One of the fundamental problems I have with this Hellraiser is they can't even, once again, first of all, it's another trauma. Once again, it's another trauma-based horror movie surrounding addiction. I don't get what it is with this generation that thinks they've had the biggest plight in all the world. But every new horror movie from every modern horror maker has to be about woe is me. But letting that pass, the director finally explained what the ending was, and I'm not going to say what happens, but I made a little bit of headcanon, and I don't usually like headcanon, but after listening to the director's actual explanation, and I don't give a fuck about everybody else's YouTube video, Hellraiser ending explained, fuck you. You mean fuck all because the director and Jamie Clayton, the new Pinhead, came out together and admitted in Slash News or some shit, an article, and it was exclusive, what the ending was. And when I heard the ending, I'm like, yeah, my head canon was better because it's a cop-out ending. Overall, Hellraiser was fine. There is one thing in this movie. Halloween Ends does this too, and it's so fucking annoying. If this was a PG-13 M. Night Shyamalan movie or something, I would understand doing this. But Hellraiser, especially Hellraiser, is egregious of this. And this is why I pointed out to you, Mike, earlier that I said Werewolf by Night is more violent than Hellraiser. They do the thing that is my biggest pet peeve in life with a hard rated R. They have off-screen kills. There is nothing more. There's 2 things I hate in in the modern horror film: excessive jump scares and off-screen murders in a hard rated R movie about fucking demons that come from fucking hell and torture and mutilate you. There are too many off-screen kills in this film, and I cannot stand it. There may be one moment, and let us remember, I know it sounds like I'm being a gore hound, but Hellraiser films are twisted and they're supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. This movie does none of that. There's one kill that's awesome where some girl's back gets completely ripped off and thrown to the ground. Other than that, There's a lot of off-screen kills and art house kills, which I cannot stand. When we go, and this is for everyone, when people go to a Hellraiser movie, they just want to see the twisted shit and the lore, the continued lore of Hellraiser. And they made up some lore in this movie that's like, oh, I can't even get with the lore anymore, because after he mentioned what the ending is, what David Bruckner made out of this and said what the ending was, they don't even follow through with their own lore, which once again, I don't understand what it is with modern horror movie directors and writers. They make up, just like David Gordon Green did with Halloween. They establish a piece of lore and then they throw it out of the window at the very end. There's no point in that. It wastes all of our time. Whether you're a horror movie fan or not, it wastes everybody's time. A part of me would like to see more, because Jamie Clayton, props to that woman. Like, she was a fantastic Pinhead, and we're not even calling her, she's the Hell Priest. They call her the priest in the movie because Clive Barker, he despises that term. And if anybody's read the Scarlet Gospels, you know for a fact he fucking hates the term Pinhead. He hated all the last couple of movies. The only one he really gives respect to is Hellbound Hellraiser 2, other than the original. He hates all the sequels. And the shit that Hollywood did to him, I kind of do understand why he hates it. So that's been reaffirmed. The way the box is constructed, there's like 5 or 6 levels that change it to where, in order to go through these stages, if you get through them and you give a blood sacrifice, which really, I talked to one of my friends about this, and if I had a major gripe with the new Hellraiser, it would be this. Hellraiser, it doesn't matter if they were the shitty directed video movies. In every single Hellraiser, it has been established that in order for you to be attacked by the fucking Cenobites, you have to play with the limit configuration box yourself. You have to open Pandora's box. You have to bring hell upon yourself, and then the twisted, brutal murder, the twisted punishment where you get mutilated and sent to Leviathan's doorstep in hell happens to you. Not in this movie. This movie turned into a fucking demonic supernatural slasher, because anybody can get it now, because it's based upon blood sacrifice now. So for example, if someone opens the fucking box, their goal now is to make sure that they tag someone with the box and send their soul to hell. And if they do each and every one of these things, they get the twisted reward. So you can be an absolute prick like the main villain of the story is, Vought. And if you're a prick and you just tag someone, it doesn't matter. They could be the most innocent, nice. It could be your 85-year-old grandma. If you tag her, she's going to hell. It's that simple. And I hate that change in the lore. Everything else they did with the lore changes were fine, but that slasher, now it's just like being Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or even more Freddy Krueger, because he comes through your dreams. Anybody can get it now. I hate to be a snob, but they were, until they got to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them. Hellraiser used to be the thinking man's type of horror movie slasher, dare I say, one of the original elevated horror films. But now it's just anybody can get the smoke now. Anybody can get the smoke. And I don't like that. Plus, I thought the ending was beautiful until he explained what the ending was. And it makes no sense to the lore. I can't get into it without spoiling it for people, but I made a commentary about it and I put my theory out there. And now that it's been debunked, I think it's one of the stupidest fucking endings I've seen in a long time. Not Halloween ends stupid, but it's damn close, because it undermines every piece of lore they established in their own movie if you listen to what he says. Overall, it was better than what we've gotten because Hellraiser, I'm telling you, to say we've been in limbo is nice. Hellraiser films have been shit. I mean, Doug Bradley quit, for crying out loud, because you can't pay him enough anymore. Like, the scripts were just that bad. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. It's ruining the legacy, and you can't pay me enough. On top of the fact, like I stated earlier, this might be until something happens, this is going to be the last Hellraiser project we get, because I don't think that HBO Max series is happening. I think Zaslav said, fuck this shit. It's going to, at the very least, because you can look up information, and the most recent information was April or July or June. And then there's been nothing but crickets since. On top of the fact, like I said, David Gordon Green's project, it's not Hellraiser. His next project is going to be the Exorcist trilogy. And that's going to take at least, even if he tries, 6 years. So this is going to be the last bit of Hellraiser we get for a while. Overall, I did put it at a 5, even with the missteps, because some of the Cenobite creatures, they're fucking, like Mike was saying, chef's kiss. Some of them are fucking creepy. Some of them are like, whoa. You can tell they really put the time and money into the practical effects of the costumes and the creature effects. So right now it's a 7 out of 10. There's no way I can give it more than that, because the ending is ridiculous. It's stupid. Even as beautiful as it is, it's stupid. And they undermine their own lore. And like I said, the slasher element of anybody can get the smoke. Even your 85-year-old grandma can just be taking a walk in her walker. And if the prick wants to come up behind and send her as a blood sacrifice, grandma's going to hell. That's all there is to it. She could be the sweetest old lady, she's going to hell. So it's a 7 out of 10. It could have been a lot better, but it could have been a lot worse too. God, could it have been a lot worse?
Yeah. Well, that,
like Revelations worse.
when you explain that, it reminds me of that movie It Follows.
It's a lot like that, only it's not as well told.
Right.
I liked It Follows a lot better than this, and I hate to say that, but
I just remember, like, yeah, for the whole plot of It Follows, basically, when a character has sex with another person, it follows that person, and it won't kill anyone else but that person.
It's a similar identity. It's a similar identity, only you trade fucking for corrupt bullshit.
Right.
Because none of these characters, and that's another problem I have with this movie. Unlike it follows in other more modern horror, there are no redeemable characters, and like the cast sucks. Like everybody's obnoxious. Everybody in this cast you just want to see die. You're like, I hope you all bite the fucking dust.
Right.
Except the only ones that I didn't want to see bite the dust were the Australian Asian chick and the gay dude that was the sister's brother's boyfriend, because they were the only ones. They were the only ones genuinely trying to be human beings. Everybody else, I wanted to see him die quick. And not only did I want to see him die quick, I wanted to see him die in the most brutal fashion ever. Trust me, the main villain wasn't just the main villain of the movie. The whole fucking cast was.
Fascinating.
So that's why I cannot give it any more than 7 out of 10.
Yeah, and then that Hellraiser is only exclusive to Hulu, right? Much like
they did that, and that kind of agitates me. There's nowhere else you can see it. It's not even in the theater right now.
Yeah.
It's not like the Cock did with Halloween, where they put it same day as theater. This is, if you want to see this, you're gonna have to watch it on Hulu. And one of the problems I have with this is why this disappoints me so much is it's a similar problem I had with X earlier this year. David Bruckner and Ty West have made both of these guys have made movies that I love. Like Ty West made The Sacrament, which is one of my favorite found footage that calls back to Jim Jones and the Kool-Aid drinkers. But even more importantly, he did a movie called The House of the Devil, which if anybody wants to see it, it's on Tubi for free. It is one of the best horror films I've seen in a long, long time. And then he made X, which I can't stand. X is shit. I hated that movie. The same thing is similar, although I don't hate Hellraiser as much as I did X. The same thing, it's the same problem with David Bruckner. David Bruckner made The Night House, and I love that movie. He even did The Ritual, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a good movie, especially being on Netflix. And then he did this with Hellraiser. I'm like, now, like I said, I don't hate it as much as Ty West X, but there were some moments, especially with the ending, where it was dangerously close. Because I'm sorry, X is another one up there with Halloween Ends, which is a fucking disappointment, and it's one of the worst films of this past year. I fucking hated both of those movies, and that made me. These two movies are almost to the point where I don't even want to watch modern horror films anymore. I'm about to quit watching them, like seriously. Barbarian is the last chance, because Barbarian has been talked about. The Justin Long movie with Pennywise,
Right.
What's his name? Skarsgård's kid.
Yeah.
Bill.
This movie is being talked upon the highest mountaintop of how it is a return to modern horror form, and it is being released on the 25th of this month in time for Halloween on HBO Max.
Oh, wow.
This is the last time. If this movie fails to meet the expectations, especially for its hype, I'm done. I will quit. I'm stating it here on this podcast. I'm writing like Jamie Lee wrote, she's never doing Laurie Strode again. I will never watch another modern horror film again. And I hope that's not the case, because I'm actually looking forward to Scream 6, because they, unlike David Gordon Green and company with Halloween, they did a fantastic job at reinventing the Scream series. But that might not be if Barbarian ends up being fucking grot.
Yeah,
but
and
we'll see.
Until Jordan Peele's spinoff for Nope.
Oh yeah, hell no.
Oh man.
So
all righty.
Well,
from the depths of hell, we go to a galaxy far, far away in Andor.
And I can't believe I actually am having a better time with this than horror films. This is are we in the fucking Twilight Zone or the Upside Down?
Are you watching Andor too?
Yes, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Isn't it
that
amazing?
Last episode was a fucking banger and then some.
Dude, you're telling me, bro. You're telling me.
And I'm not even a Space Wizards fan, and that's why I'm saying, what the fuck is going on when I have to trash horror and I'm loving not just Star Wars, but a Marvel fucking project. Werewolf by Night was better. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean, what the fuck this is the Twilight Zone, man.
Andor. So I didn't get to see episode 5 last week because we were out of town with the family. We were on fall break in SoCal. So it was nice because I had episode 5, and when I got back, I just waited a few days for episode 6. And it was nice to binge those 2 episodes. So yeah, episode 5, The Axe Forgets, and episode 6, The Eye. The last episode, which I've yet to upload, but I'm sure by the time this is uploaded, that episode will have been uploaded, where it was me and Kuya. We were both enjoying it. He was also enjoying it. And it's just really fascinating to see a Star Wars series that really takes its time and even has world building, where you'd think that you don't need to world build in Star Wars, but then you kind of do when it comes to a story like this. And that's why I even said from the first episode, they uploaded 3. We got 3 episodes from the get-go, right?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the first 2 episodes, I was like, it feels like Star Wars, but it's not. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's very different. But I really liked it because it was a different approach. And again, it's really fascinating to see. They don't even mention Jedi. They don't even mention. There's no mentions of the Force. There's here a few name drops here and there, but nothing too big or crazy. So yeah, episode 5 and 6 was fantastic. Especially, of course, episode 6. So I noticed, yeah, episode 3 where we had Andor getting away from what was his home planet? From on Ferrix. Wasn't it Ferrix?
Yes, correct.
Not his home planet, but yeah, the planet where he was currently staying at. Yeah, we had the action scene there, and then episode 6 is where we had another fantastic action sequence and chase scene. Fantastic all around. The only thing that kind of got me thinking was like, are there no droids in this Imperial installation? Like, it's just all like you think that there'd be at least a few droids, right?
I didn't even question that. Now that you say it, I don't remember seeing any droids on this station.
That's the only thing I was wondering about. Yeah. But other than that, everything
must
else,
have been budget cuts.
right? But then you see it in the budget. Like within
within the Star Wars world, there must have been budget cuts on that
with all the Imperial salary, like holy
yeah,
oh
damn,
it's a
they
fucking
get way
team lift.
overpaid.
It's a team lift of 2 people to load those things. I was like, holy shit, that's heavy. That looks heavy as shit.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything, especially the episode 6, like what I really like about this series is that it is a slow burn. It establishes a story. It takes its time, and it introduces you to characters that will actually make you care about them. And then when the shit hits the fan, when it's time to go do some action, it delivers. Like it's worth the slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
So
it actually pays off, which I love about it. Like, and me and Kuya have talked about this multiple times already. I love a slow burn if it pays off.
Right.
And not to re-harp and beat on the dead horse, but that is another major reason why I hated Halloween, because it was a slow burner as well that did not pay off like Andor has been paying. And it's not just one, it's been multiple times this show is paying off. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not even a Space Wizards fan, and I'm having a great time with this show. It's insane. It's insane how well written this show is, because if the writing wasn't this good, the slow burn aspect of the show would be dog shit.
And see, that's the thing that I think is really important, because it's almost like they went spy thriller first, Star Wars second, because the first 3 episodes, in my opinion, it didn't feel like Star Wars. Like, it felt like it had a Star Wars sweater on. But then when we got into was it episodes 4 and 5, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing some Imperials. It's starting to feel some Star Wars. I'm seeing Coruscant. I'm feeling Star Wars. And then this last episode, when we're getting these like crazy shots, and then these, like, we're actually seeing like almost every bit inside the cockpit of the TIE fighters. I'm like, this is Star Wars, 100% Star Wars. And so that's how I've described it. I've described it as a spy thriller, and then Star Wars after that. And I think it's really important, because a lot of people, and I wish I could say I understand, but I don't really understand why you wouldn't like this show as a Star Wars fan. Because if you liked The Last Jedi, you were thankful that you got something new and fresh, and they changed things up a little bit. While I have plenty of disagreements, you already know, I'm not going to go into, but how could you say that this show is no good when they did something fresh, new, and it's grounded in the lore appropriately? I say that word appropriately with emphasis on purpose. And then they just stick the landing every time. So I don't understand why there is this underlying hate for it. And honestly, when it comes down to it, all I'm reading is, I'm bored, I'm falling asleep. And I'm like, I kind of get that in the slower episodes, but then how can you not say, wow, that last episode really paid off, all that slow burn? It was amazing.
And I'm glad you brought that spy. Maybe that's what I wasn't thinking about. Like, that's actually a good analogy, because this is like some of my favorite, thinking about it now, that's probably why I've enjoyed this so much, is because it's like some of my favorite slow burn spy movies, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy or The Good Shepherd. Like, it's got that. It's not a Bond movie or Mission Impossible. Shit ain't blowing up every 20. Like, those are great, But you know what else is great? A nice slow burn that pays off. You don't have to have shit. I know we have ADD or fucking the attention span of a gnat's dick now, but we can get a slow burn once in a while, especially like I said, if the writing's good enough and it pays off. Like people need to grow up.
Well, see, that's the thing. The slow burn of 2 episodes, but and like I would get the complaining if it was like, we only got like 10 minutes of action. But I'm sorry, episode 6, dude, my heart was pounding from beginning to end. Like I was actually invested.
Yeah, it
I
was
so
intense
invested.
all the way throughout until they. Yeah.
There's no way you can, with a straight face, after seeing that 6th episode, go, this show's fucking trash. Like it's boring.
Right.
Like, really? Did you watch the episode we all watched? Because even a person who I know despises Star Wars, she was like, that was a banger, and that had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, see.
Yep.
So I just don't get, like, now we're just bitching to bitch at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand it because just like the Halloween fan base, especially now after this movie, the fan base is torn completely in half. So now there's certain people within the fan base that it doesn't matter if it's blatantly good in front of their face. They're not going to give Star Wars any credit. They're just not. They're just not going to do it because they have a vendetta now.
Yeah. Also, when Andor shoots Skeen right in the chest, it shocked me. I was like, "Holy shit."
Dude.
But at the same time, it reminded me instantly of when we were first introduced to Andor in Rogue One, when he shoots his informant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there you go. There's the connection. And also, it reminded me of like, hey, this is original Star Wars. Han shot first before George Lucas felt a little guilty or whatever, like had a change of conscience, But and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I really like the characters too. What's his name? Nemec.
Dude.
The kid who came up with it. And Jester was telling me before I watched episode 5 about the dialogue about the technology. I thought that was really fascinating too.
Oh, when Nemec was explaining that to Andor.
Yeah.
I thought, see, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about with the world building, because in the dialogue, you're learning a lot about where the people that are grounded in this universe are actually going through. So when you're watching the other movies, you're understanding why the Empire sucks, why the Empire can't aim, why they just let people waltz in and out,
right.
Why people don't remember the Jedi. You're like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? But why is it in the show Andor? Dear Lord, I'll never know. Why couldn't it have been an Obi-Wan or this and that? Yeah, we can argue that all the time. But like, I'm glad it's finally being discussed in a well-written show.
Yeah. And then they even mentioned that the Empire, even if they fail at something, they're never gonna change. They're just because they just know that they rule overall anyway, and that no one will even dare oppose them. Until now they're seeing, there's pockets of resistance or there's rebellion. And I'm really liking Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen, who's fantastic. Even in
he's on a roll, man. He's the Baron. He's like,
yeah.
It makes me want Dune Part 2 already. Like that's the only thing that pisses me off. Every time I see his face, I'm like, I love you. When are we getting Dune Part 2?
Which they're filming right now, right?
Yep.
Okay, so hopefully
it is getting
soon enough.
First it got pushed back, and now it's being pushed a little bit forward, so it doesn't compete with another film. So
yeah. Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen when he changes his character before he arrives on court, because I thought this whole time he was a senator.
Right, same. Yeah.
Right.
So did I didn't. Now I don't feel so dumb because I'm like, is he a senator or something?
Yeah, and then it turns out
he's
just he's basically a dealer of exquisite antiquities. Which I don't know if you saw that, Jester. I'm sure you saw that, the armor of Starkiller.
I saw that. I saw some. Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff like I was pointing out, bro. It's so cool.
Yeah, and that's why it was like, oh, what the hell is this shit?
I think in lore right now, I think it's classified as ancient Sith armor. Am I wrong about that? I don't know. I can't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it is. But just, his whole character change when he starts like changing his persona and he starts switching. And then that's why there's all those memes like me when I'm about to clock into work. I mean, the memes are priceless. But yeah, the show is fantastic. But then I also realized, like, you know, we wouldn't have so much appreciation, at least for those of us who enjoy the show, without having the other shows the way they were. It's the similar thing of, you know, you don't get to appreciate the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy without experiencing Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then, you know, and then like Superman Returns, right? Everyone complained like that was nothing. Superman punched the fucking island. And then what did Zack Snyder say? Oh, let me give you, oh, you want to see Superman punch him? Oh, he's gonna punch Kryptonians. He's gonna punch Zod. He's gonna fucking punch a train. He's gonna do all these things. So, you know, I was just like, and we're basically halfway now through season 1, because it is episode 6. So we have 6 more episodes. We're going to be getting this until the week of Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
Which I'm just like, and I hope Disney and Lucasfilm and Disney and with what they're doing with Marvel, it looks like with Daredevil, that has 18 episodes. It's interesting how the streaming kind of, they shrunk down their seasons. Like Game of Thrones would do 10 1-hour episodes. And then now Disney Plus is doing something. Huh?
An actual hour.
An actual hour, right? Exactly, an actual hour.
Not this, 40-minute shit and then 15 minutes of credits.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling Jester. At least with Andor, since this first season is 12 episodes, they dropped 3 right at the get-go. Which even if the episodes were 30 minutes, with 3 episodes, you're getting 90 minutes. I'm like, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that didn't matter, because that's one thing I do appreciate. That's fine that you dropped 3 episodes, so it makes up the difference of short run time.
Right.
Well, honestly, too, I don't think the Andor would have been any form of a success if they dropped just the first episode.
Yeah.
They needed all 3.
Yeah, because then the people that are bitching would have really bitched and moaned if it had just been, it wouldn't have stood a chance if it had just been 1 episode.
They were smart.
Well, I agree.
It would have been like, why do I care about Cassie and Schmandor? But I mean, it's fantastic. So I'm enjoying.
Hey, be excited, because guess what? Now you guys are going to get the same treatment we got in Halloween with Mandalorian 3. Mando's not going to show up until the very last episode, the last 20 minutes of the last episode.
That blows my mind, because the marketing all throughout, marketing is like Michael Myers right at the beginning.
Yeah, it is. The legacy ends.
He's breathing.
That's that's why I brought it up, because that's the analogy I wanted. Like, it was literally like if Mandalorian season 3 has Mando in there on the very last episode in the last 20 minutes. Well, it's absurd. It's absurd.
I guess that would be okay, because what does Lady Bo-Katan says? She tells baby Grogu, she's like, did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian? They're gonna show us all the other Mandalorians.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Well, it's Grogu's show at this point anyway, too.
Exactly.
So,
right? It'll be interesting to see how his screen time has increased ever since he was first introduced. So
yeah, for sure.
Or even compared,
especially with him being busy with The Last of Us over there on HBO.
which looks great. That trailer.
Yeah, that trailer looks so good, dude. It looks so good.
Yeah,
I agree.
And that's the thing, is it's cool to see, like, okay, HBO, you got my money again. Let's go. Yeah,
for sure.
So so from Andor, we're going to back to Westeros with House of the Dragon. So much like Andor, I also did not get to see episodes 7 and 8. And this season, first season of House of the Dragon, I've been watching every episode religiously every Sunday night, except of course for the last few weeks. So I binged on those last 2 episodes, episodes 7 and 8. And my God, wow, what a show.
So is it over yet? It's not over, is it?
They're saying there's 2 more episodes.
Okay, thank God, because I was like, I watched I think I watched last week's episode yesterday, and I was like, I can't end there. That's not cool. So I'm glad. For whatever reason, I read a dumb article that I thought it was like over or something, but whatever.
Yeah, and of course, spoilers. We finally lost what's his name, King Viserys, played by Paddy Considine.
Yeah, Paddy Constantine. Yeah.
Yeah, and he even said that he got a text message from George R. R. Martin, who said that his King Viserys on screen was way better than George R. R. Martin ever wrote on the book, on the page. And so, of course, he appreciated that. That's like the highest compliment. And he was really fantastic. I mean, the entire cast, I think, is fantastic.
It's very well done.
It's very like from the get-go. And to think that everyone, and I remember when I was bringing it up on this podcast, a lot of you guys were like, nah, like not really excited for it.
I know I was like, this is gonna be dumb.
And I'm sure, like, yeah, I mean, the general consensus after the end of Game of Thrones from 2019, the 7th season, a lot of people were turned off because a lot of things that were set up in earlier seasons did not necessarily pay off the way, they were setting it up. It's kind of like the producers were just like, let's fuck it. Let's just end the show. Let's end the show. Let's not give the fans what we set up in the beginning or the books or whatever. Like,
well, it also helps. Unlike the last few seasons of Game of Thrones with this series, Lardass finally got off his fat fucking ass and is actually putting a hands-on approach with this and actually helping out the co-creator, because George and another guy co-created this.
Yeah.
So he's actually getting off his hefty ass and putting, some work in. Maybe you'll do that with another Game of Thrones book and finally end this series that people have been asking for. But for once, he's actually, like he was with the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, putting his input in, and not just that, helping with the writing. And it shows drastically.
It does show.
Right.
And I'm so glad that they kept my boy, what's his name, Rami David or whatever. I can't ever pronounce his name. I'm glad they kept his score and the main theme, because I even like this opening credit scene with that music even better than Game of Thrones, especially when you're seeing the blood come through and all this other shit. And especially as it changes from week to week, you can see these subtle little changes as the show progresses. So we're actually getting effort with this shit. Unlike, Benny Jerkoff and Wise or whatever the fuck their name was.
Oh man.
Yeah, so
just like you said, gave up.
Rest in peace, King Viserys. Enjoy Legoland in heaven. In Westeros heaven. You can build your Westeros buildings without having to be fucking interrupted with all this shit from your kingdom.
Honestly, that last episode was probably the best episode as far as like just pure drama.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, Matt Smith is like, he is the show steal. I mean, it's tough when you have Patty playing this character and then you have Matt Smith playing the character he's playing, because they both, every time they're on screen, they're like, it's almost like they're battling for like who can out act the other.
Right.
And then when you had this last episode, and like he picks him up and he's carrying to the throne.
Yeah.
He drops his crown. Dude, I was like, what is this? This is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see Matt, because he's finally, after all these years, making up for his shitty run as Doctor Who.
Well, I'm also glad that they brought back his long hair, because when he was short hair, I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. I like the long hair. You're more of a badass with the long hair.
Yeah.
The battle of when he what was that? The battle of in the sea when he
episode 3
when he killed the crab feeder. Like I remember him with that long hair flowing in the wind, like fucking like going
like Fabio of Westeros.
Exactly. But yeah, man. And then seeing the intense scenes with the kids and they were fucking fighting.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like they, what's his name? Because he, I can't even remember the kids' names. There's so many. Anyway, one of them like had the rock, and he was like gonna fucking kill his cousin or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit, dude! And then of course he got his eye cut out. I'm like, yeah, fucker, that's what you get. I'm like, yeah.
Honestly, though, now he looks like he's gonna be quite the character now that he's grown up.
He's kind of reminding me of just a younger Damon almost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm very intrigued by him.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. He does remind me of that.
I can see it.
With the eye patch.
Yep.
So I'm like, wow. Yeah. Really fascinating. Really, really awesome. House of the Dragon. And of course, now we're going on to Middle Earth.
Oh
Crazy
god.
Oh, dude, you guys do not want to know what I have to say about this heap of
Oh,
garbage.
yes.
Oh, I
I
want to
do,
know. Now, I
because
haven't caught
I've
up since
only-
episode 3.
Okay.
I've only seen one episode, and I cannot, because I refuse. So I
Okay.
cannot wait to hear what my boy, who I'll admit, Jester, you have far more knowledge on this Middle Earth shit than I do. So yes, I gotta know. How'd you love elven titties?
Dude, I was smothered with the overpriced heap of pillow for 8 long episodes, man.
So that big battle was not.
Oh, but I don't want to hear Jack Diddley about big battle, my butthole.
It wasn't
bro.
big enough.
Oh
Was
man,
it
you know
girthy
what?
enough?
So
I'm already loving this.
I watched episode. So okay, I'm trying to like remember where I was. So like I'm battling with myself.
That boring, huh?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't want to use the excuse of boring. I want to have a legitimate reason, and I think I've come down to a legitimate reason why I had a hard time watching it. Now, before I go on in this whole thing, I'm gonna kind of tell you where my pacing was. Like I watched episodes 1, and then I watched episode 2, and I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe I'll power through. I could do this. I could do the 3 strikes you're out, you know, yada yada. I watched episode 3, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm really liking. I mean, he's driving me nuts. But the elf that's played by the dude from Game of Thrones, I think he's from Game of Thrones.
Actually, he's not. He's not. He's a different guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you see his name, please let the audience know. But he, for crying out loud, he has been the only single thread of why I've continued watching this show. Like the only interesting character as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the prince of the Dwarven Kingdom, Durin, was probably the close second of like why I kept watching this show.
Are you talking about Ismael Cruz Cordova?
Yes, that's him.
Yes.
Doria or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
I
him.
agree with that. He was the one thing that would actually made me want to maybe watch another episode.
dude, he played the elven species
He's great.
to a T, man.
He's
that
great.
perfection. But yeah, so anyway, so I got to episode 6, and I think I was halfway through episode 6, and it was like a Friday afternoon. And I literally I think I said out loud, like, I got better stuff to do. And I just turned it off. I was like, I'm done. And then, like a couple weeks go by, and I think episode 7 was out, and then I think episode 8 had just dropped. And my pop was like, oh man, I really don't know why you don't like it, man. Did you at least watch the battle scene, like the big battle scene? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, I remember there was like this black screen, and I heard a lot of screaming and stabbing, and then I was like, I can't see Jack because it's so dark.
That was Game of
Oh,
Thrones
I hate
season finale.
that.
Oh, they pull the Game of Thrones season finale, but like on high alert, you know what I mean? So anyway, and he was like, oh no, it's like a little bit past that. I'm like, okay. All right, I guess.
Yeah, typing it up. I love it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it. And so yesterday, or no, so it'd be Friday. So Friday, I'm watching it, and then I'm still watching it. I'm like, okay, I'm powering through some of this stuff, and then the show ends, and I'm like, wait, that's it? I was like, what's his name? John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Like, where's the battle scene you were talking about? Like
that meme.
Yeah. So the battle scene that he was talking about, they had like this, like charge into Rohan kind of thing, where they like for no reason, they were just like running across the field. They weren't like running into battle or anything. And then I was like, all right, that scene was like kind of cool. And then they just kind of like appear at this battle, and then a couple of the elves do like these really weird, like, sword moves. They tried to do the Legolas from, because here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm gonna say. At least Legolas in that wonderful trilogy had like one shining moment You know what I mean? Of like something crazy, like surfing on the shield and you know, and then
Yeah.
but I guess the one like unnatural thing you can like something that like I would say not just unnatural, but something that would like seriously draw your attention, like, whoa, what was that? Was that move that it was in slow motion and they're going to fight all the wogs in that open field. And then Legolas is like shooting in slow motion with the bow. And then all of a sudden he grabs the horse that's coming up behind him and he like flips up backwards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're like, what? That's
And
so
then you hear the
crazy.
music.
Yeah, exactly. And then so they tried to do a couple things like that with Galadriel, and like she had to do a couple like slide off the horse and like
that bitch
go upside down and like, you know, do this crazy like, you know, and I'm like, that was dumb. That was dumb and quick. Like, okay. The fight scene with I can't, dude. I can't. The fight scene
I
with
can hear the rage building in Chester. It's like Hulk just
the fight scene with I can't remember that elf's name, but the oh my gosh. Anyway, the fight scene with him and the orcs when he's captured by the orcs in that like ravine they were digging. That elf fight was fantastic, very well choreographed, very well done, felt amazing. The fight big battle thing that everyone was screaming over, I just, you know, it was all right. It was half of it was in the dark and, you know, my TV was just spitting sounds. I didn't see anything. The stuff that I did see that was during the day, I was like, okay, you know, so this big battle thing that everybody's talking about, I honestly, it wouldn't have been there, and I probably would have been like okay with that. It probably would have been fine. Probably wouldn't even remembered it because I don't remember it now. But you know, so
it would have been much better if they even flashed some elven titties.
You know, okay. So here is where I will like. I don't want to hear any of this BS. I don't want to hear that the show's woke. I don't want to hear that garbage. I don't want to hear that there's like, I'm sorry, I don't even know why they were like, oh, there's gonna be orc women in there. I didn't even see one. I don't even know if there was one in there. If they didn't tell me that, I would have never thought.
Because people have been creaming, especially Whoopi Goldberg. Her pussy blew out the bottom talking about her character. That's what got her to tell everybody to get off their ass and get a job. How's the fat black chick? Because everybody said she's one of the few good parts of
okay.
that.
One of the standouts, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Durin's wife. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about.
I'm not sure. I've only seen pictures of her.
She's the dwarven princess.
Yeah,
she's married to Durin.
Okay.
Dude, again, another show stealer. Their relationship on screen felt real, grounded, and it made perfect sense. And, you know, last podcast episode, you know, an eternity ago, I was moaning about how the female dwarves didn't have like big long beards, and I'm still sticking to that. I still am. But, you know, she had some tuft on there, kind of like that, a little bit of like mutton chop patches. You know, I get it. I like that. But just her dialogue with Durin and everything else that when she was on screen, it was really well written, really well done. So I personally really liked her character a lot.
So she's pretty good as an overall character.
I would say everything with the dwarves was 100% amazing.
Okay.
About 90 to 80% of stuff with the elves, I wanted to blow my brains out. The whatever it's called, the Kingdom of Man. I don't remember what it's called. Oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts. But you know, Isildur and all that. That really bothered me a lot. His character was just annoying. It was kind of hard for me to see him as this future king that ends up cutting off Sauron's fingers, you know, and yeah, I'm not going to dive into spoilers because I mean, I doubt you guys are going to watch this, but
I'm not, because I got to this like half of the second episode. I'm like, and a big part of it is Galadriel. I can't stand that bitch. She's obnoxious. Like, so, I wanted an axe to go through her skull.
So that's the thing. I'm going to defend her in the sense that she plays a good Cate Blanchett but there's something about her that I find extremely annoying. And I think it was somebody said it, like she talks out of the side of her mouth or something like that. And I don't know if that's it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just like the charisma or something that she like oozes off screen that I just don't like.
Well, after I saw her doing Neo Matrix moves in the first episode
Right.
against snow goblins or whatever,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is Lord of the Rings, right? Not the fucking Matrix.
Well, see, that's the
We
thing.
get it, Trinity.
I
We get it.
I didn't get how like the cave troll that they fought in the Mines of Moria as like this, they fought their balls off trying to kill it, and then all of a sudden Galadriel could just clap it in one hit.
That's
Like,
what I'm
all
talking about.
right.
That's what I'm talking about. In the Mines of Moria, when they did it in the movie, Frodo almost died.
Right.
She comes in and just goes, hold my beer, pussies. I'm going to do what you can't. And just pulls off these Trinity Matrix moves. And practically, you might as well just have her go in and go and blow him down and then be done with it because she's that powerful.
I completely agree. And
I get it. I am woman. Hear me roar. I get it. I fucking get it.
And see, that's the thing.
There's, and I know it's a fantasy, but there's a line between badass, over the top, and just like, okay, even for Lord of the Rings, This is fucking ridiculous nonsense.
And I don't want to hear no like dissing my analogy here. Legolas was in there, so there was an elf in there, and he was fighting along with them just the same. Blah 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 blah, whatever.
Exactly.
Anyway, that beside the point. They had this like. In the last episode, they had the massive like twist of like, oh, this is Sauron, and this is so and so. No giving away no spoilers, and I'm like, whoa, who cares? I like whatever, congratulations, you figured it out. Like, okay. And then like when they,
predictable.
When they finally made the 3 rings for the elves and they placed them on the table.
I love that narration.
I'm like, those don't like look the same. Let me just do a quick Google image search. Elven rings from Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, directed by Peter Jackson. Wow, they don't even look the same.
Well, these guys got their rings from Party City, and Peter Jackson.
Oh man,
the guys from Wish. They ordered from Wish, not Amazon.
Dear Lord Bezos, I figured like with this massive budget of like the most expensive show ever made, you could have done something a little better with the storytelling and pacing. Dear Lord, I made all my arguments in the previous episodes that we did when we were talking about the show when it first started. Like, it has redeeming qualities. I don't want to completely just sit over the toilet and take a dump on it. I just it has moments where like, I really like that. Like that was really good dialogue. That was a nice piece of storytelling. And then they just come out of here and they backhand you with the metal glove. And it's like, why did you do that? That made no sense. Or that was boring. Or we could have skipped this. We could have skipped this full 30 minutes and I think I would have been okay. I didn't even need that. It's like they made an extended edition just to make it an extended edition instead of like.
So it's the Hobbit then.
Yeah, it's like the Hobbit, just unnecessary story that they like threw
Battle
in there.
Of the 5 armies. It's just because we just had to we had to drag out the story. Well, I take that back. It's Halloween Ends. We had to make a third one because the money was too good.
So and I will say something though that I think you guys are gonna get a kick out of. So the M&M looking broad.
I've been waiting for
Mom Spaghetti.
Mom Spaghetti. All right, so she was like, I didn't even expect what she was.
So it's a woman.
It is.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a guy.
It was a very intense looking woman.
Yeah.
Very intense. I didn't know what she was, and then when she revealed herself, I was like, oh, like, all right. But then they just got like winded away, and I was like, okay, that was cool. Like just showing them here and there the past 3 episodes for them to just get smacked,
Wow.
So it's they wasted their time on characters that didn't really need to be like
Fuck.
oh my gosh, what's a perfect example of this? The halflings, not the halflings, but like the hobbits before they're hobbits in the first episode. Yeah. So they could have cut all that out and it would have been fine. You would have been like, oh, cool. Didn't need all that random story and stupid timeline wasting. Could have gone on with the rest of the stuff.
I'm looking up a picture of her. She looks like a fucking bargain bin Lady Gaga, like in this picture.
Oh no, dude, she is like unhealthy skinny. Like unhealthy
it's
skinny.
Creepy. Like she looks like the fucking crypt keeper. It's disgusting. Like
she's
fucking
intense.
meal once in a while, girl.
She is intense.
I know they got food in New Zealand. She is.
I can't remember what episode that was, maybe 2 or 3. That Galadriel is on horseback riding a horse.
Yeah, in the sand.
And then it goes slow-mo. And I'm like,
for no reason.
She's smiling. She's like all happy. I'm like, I guess.
Yep. That's a waste of a 30-second slow-mo clip that I couldn't get back.
It looks gorgeous. Looks absolutely gorgeous.
It does.
I'm like, why?
Because this has got to be the most expensive film ever made, and we have to rub your little noses in it.
Yeah.
You have to shove your face into every frame and just waterboard you with all this money we put in the show. But you know what? The writing, just lay back and take your time with the writing. If it doesn't make any sense, that's okay. That's all right. You know what I mean? I know you only took a chapter out of the Silmarillion, and we're going to stretch it super long into however long we want to make this series. And that's okay. We'll take our time. Nobody will care if we just make up stuff here and there willy-nilly. It's fine.
And that's why I kind of wish Kuya was here right now, because he's not going overboard, but there's moments in the private chat where he's like coming in his buddy Lee dungarees over this show. And it's like, is it really that good?
Well, see,
he's like, for what it is, it's actually pretty damn good. And like, there's moments where you can see the semen pop through his pants, because it's like, okay, it can't be that good.
And see, this is where I will say this most likely is a me thing. Now, I am really attached to the original trilogy, and what Peter Jackson did with that, with the budget that man had. And, in my opinion, I've been noticing that, honestly, I don't think it's appropriate that you take my judgment and then go, okay, then I won't watch the show, or I will watch the show. I think that in this situation, regardless of whatever kind of fan you are of Lord of the Rings, I think you need to give it the waterboarding treatment for 8 hours, because that's what it is 8 hours of this show, and decide for yourself. If you can't make it through, I completely understand, and you did better than I did, but just decide for yourself. I'm going to tell that to everybody, that if you're listening, decide for yourself. Don't be jaded going into it. That's something I really tried not to do. I really tried my hardest not to be jaded by all the comments and the reporting and this and that. Just go in and expect nothing, and maybe you will like it. My parents are very, very massive Lord of the Rings fans. I mean, my mother, for crying out loud, she has like almost 5 different versions of the same books of different, this, and she got like the collector's edition of this and that, and she doesn't buy any collector's edition stuff, like nothing. But Lord of the Rings,
she likes it like that, like Dune, man.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and she loves this show. She's loving it. And yeah, there's some of the characters. She's like, all right, this is whatever. But she loves it. And me, I can't get myself to do it. So that's why I say I think it really depends on the viewer. I don't think it's appropriate to listen to somebody review it and then go, okay, I'm going to decide to watch it or not. I think you should just watch it for yourself.
Yeah. And that's me and you have a similar view with how you are with Lord of the Rings. That's how I feel about Halloween. That's why I kept off the review that don't not go see Halloween Ends, because there are a group of people that are loving this movie. It's just when you have a certain attachment to something that you've been in love with, and in your mind how certain things should go, you're like, I'm good. If other people like it, that's fine, but I'm good.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Because I don't like bashing something If I hate it, that's fine, and that's my business. But I'm not going to go out of my way to make sure that everybody else has a miserable time, especially if there's a possibility that they will highly enjoy it.
Right. And I think that this Rings of Power show has the potential for a really good audience of viewers that like Lord of the Rings that will like it. I had a talk with my friend. He asked me today, he's a massive Lord of the Rings fan. He's like, so what do you think? I'm like, and I gave him the same rant I just gave you guys. And at the end, I was like, I hate to say it, but like, you need to watch it for yourself and be open, because I think there are things that you will like about it. And I can't stress this enough. I am tired of the woke argument complaining about because they see a black guy in a show or this or that it's woke. This show has no aspects of wokeness in it. You know, even Pinhead's argument of like the I am woman, hear me roar. I didn't get that, like that vibe that they were just jamming it down my throat. It was just like, that's who the character was at that time in this time frame. And I got over that. It's like, okay, that's who she is. And she learned lessons along the way. It wasn't like she was just like plowing through everybody. She learned lessons. So
that's why I'm kind of intrigued to watch a little bit more. If we dial back the Trinity Matrix moves, because I'm sure in any aspect of the lore, in Tolkien's lore, they're never plugged into the Matrix and learned Kung Fu like that. So if we can dial that, I don't even care about, even if there was an aspect of, I'm being a little asshole, but even I wouldn't care. Like, even if they hammered the I am woman, hear me roar, just dial back the fucking Matrix moves. This isn't John Wick.
It's Elvin Fu, Middle Earth style.
Yeah, Elvin.
And honestly, it is a beautiful show to watch visually. I mean, the orcs were done so well.
Oh, they look good.
So well. And, them explaining kind of how the orcs came about, I felt was a little rushed, but it was nice to get that information in a way that I wouldn't have expected to get it. And there's just, visually speaking, there are things that are really, really impressive, but I feel like that was too much the primary focus instead of focusing on serious character development. And because at the end of the day, I don't care about anybody. I really don't. I care about Durin in his current position, and I care about the elf that I'm talking about that I for the life of me, I can't remember his name.
Iditarod or whatever his name is.
Yeah, and it's only because those two characters and those actors that portrayed them did so well at bringing Lord of the Rings to the screen. I mean, for crying out loud, I bet their back's broken for how much they've been carrying the entire series. So it's just, that's my 2 cents.
So Ismael Cruz Cordova plays Arondir.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Great character, man.
I like my name better, but we'll go with that.
Yeah. Alrighty. So from Middle Earth, we go back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh dear Lord, are we talking about She-Hulk right now?
So I still have not watched.
No.
Nothing has compelled me, but of course I've been seeing the spoilers. So I'm just been like tuning in and like looking at the memes. I'm like, okay, interesting, cool.
Wait, so the finale was Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, so I haven't watched it yet.
I skipped right to that because we all know who's appearing in that episode.
And so with that, and that's why I also wish Kuya was here.
So
I would
do
love
I.
to genuinely get his reaction. Because if I look like that, with that fucking haircut, as the son of the Hulk, holy shit, I'd be raging too.
Oh, so wait, that's the Hulk's kid?
That's the Hulk's kid, Scar.
From who? Who's he plowing?
That's a good question. Who indeed?
It could be Matt Murdock's bastard child. At this point, the writing was so inept.
And just the whole, hey guys, here's my son.
Oh my
Scar.
gosh. I didn't know that's what it was. Oh my god.
But then that's why they're saying now that it's setting up a World War Hulk movie or series. Who knows?
Okay.
Oh,
but I don't know. You think you could have made it a little bit more exciting in introducing the son of the Hulk I don't know, maybe
And
he'd
not
be
only that, we
raging.
only asked for World War Hulk, a few years ago, and you didn't
Yeah.
give it to us. So why
So
now?
I'm really curious to find out Kuya's reaction to this.
I am now too, because I
You
know
know,
it. Oh boy.
I'm just like, okay, I guess. So yeah, and then Werewolf by Night, I have not checked out yet. I will definitely check out. Um,
Boy.
I need to
it's
watch that, too.
interesting because it's not getting as much marketing as the other Marvel stuff has. When in
I know,
fact,
and it
a lot
kind
of
of
people have
pisses
been
me
raving
off.
about it. Yeah.
And this is Giacchino's like first foray into actual filmmaking, because he
Yes.
said he's always wanted to be a filmmaker.
Yes.
Like music, he loves music, but that was always supposed to be a side gig for him. His passion is filmmaking. He's finally doing it. And as a first, even for a 56-minute short story, it's a fucking knockout of the park. He Barry Bonds it in his prime. Like Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire couldn't hit heat like this. So I don't understand, but we're talking about She-Hulk all the time, an inept, grot-written piece of dog shit. We gotta talk about that all the time.
And
But Werewolf by Night, it's crickets.
and with the fact that you were telling me that Werewolf by Night is pretty violent.
It is for and I like I said, because they get away with it because it's in black and white. But for a Marvel film, this movie is violent. It's more violent than Halloween.
It sounds like Michael Giacchino would be a good transition for the production of Blade, which is now stalled because the director left.
That would be fantastic.
Right? The director left.
I didn't even think about that with Fuck leaving out for Blade. You know what, Mike? Please make it so.
Well,
because he would be a perfect transition, because he'd get a feature film, and he has already proven just by this small film that he can do horror, and he's not a complete fuckwit.
Yeah, that's
he knows. It felt like old Universal monster movies. Like,
that's what it looked like in the trailer. Yeah,
he knows his shit.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
God, I didn't even think about that. That's right.
I don't know why they don't give it to him.
I don't either.
Probably because everything underneath the sun with that current production is just absolutely garbage. Everything's falling apart. There's disagreements here and there. Nobody knows what they want to do. And the fact that the director left tells me that like he wasn't allowed to do what he wanted to do. And he was like, all right, I'm out.
And Mahershala Ali, I guess.
Yeah, Ali wants to quit.
Yeah, I guess
Does he really?
Not happy with the script.
Yeah, he's not happy. And I heard in an article, like, he was close to walking.
Just leave and don't settle. This is why we get She-Hulk.
I mean, when you're locked into a contract, it's easier said than done.
I know.
Because the other guy didn't want, he had to be given Das Boot because of, creative differences. We always use that excuse.
Yeah.
The director probably wasn't getting his vision listened to, and he told Feige and Marvel to go suck a lemon.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
and that's why he's no longer on now.
And that's the thing. Like, I have not seen, before I saw the last 2 episodes of House of the Dragon, I'd already seen some memes. I've already seen some spoilers, and yet I'm still compelled to watch it because it's House of the Dragon. And yet for She-Hulk, I see the memes, I see the spoilers, and I'm like, okay. It doesn't compel me to like.
Trust me, Mike, brother, you ain't missing shit.
You're not missing anything. I told Mike this all the time when I was like at work or whatever. I was like, yeah, today's episode was that her name got stolen. And then like, she didn't like her name before, but now that it got stolen, like a toddler, she was like, I want it back. And then so she goes to court, and then she has this whole argument. And then at the end of the episode, they're twerking. And then you're like, wow, this is where Marvel's come to. Yeah, it's definitely because incels don't like a woman in power. It's not because the writing is really bad.
Yeah, it's not because the writing's absolute grot.
I totally forgot.
She continues to try and pull out her inner Deadpool while looking at the camera in a very inept way, going, hey guys, reasons. Am I right?
Dude, it is the worst fourth wall breaking and the most lazy aspect to it that I've ever seen.
I hate this because I love her. She's a fantastic actress. Orphan Black is one of the most underrated shows of all time, but her talent is not shown in this because the writing is so inept and boring.
So I don't.
I've never
Yeah.
seen such terrible writing. So I can't blame it on Tatiana because she had great writing in Orphan Black, and all those seasons from start to finish were fantastic. That means it's the writing and creator of She-Hulk who's fucking terrible at her job.
But see, that's the thing. She is a good She-Hulk, but the story is so bad. And
exactly.
honestly,
the
when you look
dialogue
at
is
it,
cringe.
when you look at it, there's really like no story. It's just like
There isn't.
my
And the
adventures
story
as a
that's there
lawyer.
is- exactly. There's no story there, and the story that is there is fucking cringe. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
my adventures as a lawyer, or who can I fuck next? Because and the constant is Captain America a virgin or isn't he? And constant the shit with Captain America gets old real fucking quick.
Well, we definitely know she's not a virgin because I mean she was tapping
Oh, I
everything
know,
that moved
because
in
she
that show.
almost had death by snoo a couple of times. You know, what a treat that was.
Just
And I can speak on it
Oh,
because
man.
I went well past the 3 college try episode.
yeah. Mhm.
And I was by episode 5, I was like, I've had a fucking enough. I don't even care when Daredevil comes. Matt Murdock, you can suck my dick at this point because this show fucking sucks.
Well, I will tell you that Mad Murdock did indeed come, and then he had a he had a walk of shame there at the end.
He did.
saw that.
He almost got death by snoo as well
Yeah.
because we can't he has a great story in the episode,
Yes,
but
he
once
does.
again we can't get through an episode without hearing about how desperate Jennifer is to drop the panties and fuck the blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen. We fucking get it. You're a horny, muscular, big green bitch. We get it. We get it. Your
The thing
sex
that made me
drive's higher
laugh,
than your cousin's. We get it.
what made me laugh in that episode was like I think I audibly said out loud, like, you know what this episode needs? Some more sex in it. And then like sure enough, like she's like staring
Jennifer
at him
turned to the
super
fourth
hard.
wall and said, Jester, you got it, buddy. We're gonna go right into it. So
Oh, dude.
infantile. It's infantile bullshit.
And it's
She's worse
interesting-
than Iron Man, man. She's
it's
so worse.
No,
interesting
she
to
really
see
is.
that they're so and we thought the Eternals, we got a sex scene there.
Oh, that
Oh.
shit ain't nothing compared to Jennifer Walters. The exploits of Jennifer Walters and her fuck buddies. That's what it should like. It should have just been called She-Hulk Fucks the Town. Because that's all it's about. They spend more time in her bedroom and her fucking trying to do death by snoo than they do in the courtroom. And this is supposed to be Jennifer Harvey Bird girl, attorney at law.
And see,
But
that
it's
was
more about, how
Yeah.
many people she can notch on her She-Hulk belt and fucking to oblivion.
and that's the bummer too, because like there was aspects in the show Daredevil that was running on Netflix that when they were in the courtroom and they were doing court scenes, it was really well done, and like you were invested in those scenes, like for example with Punisher and all that stuff. But then a show that
It was earned.
exactly it was
earned.
earned, and then it's like she's in the courtroom scenes that she's in, it's like it feels like I'm in a child's playhouse, and it's nothing really matters, and like nothing has weight to it. And the whole like randomly like, oh, my name, I don't like it, and then oh, now I do because somebody else took it, just seems childish and dumb. And like I don't know why they're
childish.
championing, or they're what is it called, championing it. I don't know, that's not the right word. Poor choice of words, forgive me. But like they're like rooting for it, they're like okay with her being the way she is, and
Because
like
she's a woman. And I want to state this now because I can already hear the misogyny thing, because it has
Right.
been said for naysayers.
it has, yeah.
It has nothing to do with her being a woman. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. I hate this the same way I hated David Duchovny's Californication, because instead of writing story, it's literally about a show about a guy, how many belts he can, how many conquests he can have, how
Right.
many fuck buddies he can have, and the other parts of the story are side. This is the same with Jennifer. I don't care. I don't care. I care
Yeah.
about her powers. Yes, I do like the court. I would love more because I'm a Law and Order fan, but my biggest concern is her powers and who she is as a fucking career woman in a fucking courtroom. I
Right.
don't care about how many people can eat her green box. I don't care how many poles she can jump on. I don't care. And I damn sure don't care about Daredevil being introduced in so he can have a 10-minute great moment just to be put on the sideline as the next blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen's Jennifer's fuck buddy. I don't care. I don't care.
Honestly, that was the only good like courtroom scene too, because it showed.
It was.
I feel like that
because-
was the only. That was the only episode where it showed her true talent as a lawyer going against somebody like Murdoch, and I thought I liked that. But that was really. It took you 7 episodes.
You're right, Jester, but at the same time, it shows how inept the writer is because it shows how terrible of a lawyer she is because he came in there and wiped the floor with her with basic fucking shit you learn in year 1 law school, and she's
Right.
supposed to be this highfalutin, high top of the line of. She was specifically chosen by the old fuck from the main firm in all of the city to be his right-hand woman. Yes, it was a facetious reasons, but she has to have some kind of intellect to even get the job.
Well, of
That
course.
was the running joke of why the Playboy lawyer who is a piece of shit, that we even got an episode of it when he got trick fucked by an elf, by an old senior citizen elf.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be in that law firm next to the guy who, that's another running joke. He's a playboy, but he's not. She's supposed to be the most competent lawyer, and that even fails because the writer fails at her job.
And that's the other thing. Nobody's talking about like they pulled another Ralph Boner. And I think I talked about it in one of the episodes. But like
I didn't even think about that.
Johnny Blaze, the magician that's so incompetent, he got kicked out of the Sorcerer Supreme's own training thing. But let's call him Johnny Blaze, the same name of Ghost Rider. Let's like really just jab into the side of those fans because it's funny.
And with that being said, also I agree with you on that point because your writing's terrible when you have to keep calling back to a better show in The Sopranos throughout the whole
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And over and over, just as a sight gag for what's his name, he keeps getting ruined for him. It means that your writing isn't as good as The Sopranos. That's why you keep calling back to it.
It's bad. It's like it's childish, really bad. Like it's unfortunate. It's
infantile.
I feel like the twerking for me sealed the deal, as in like, wow, this is where they've gone. And I get it was an after credit scene, but it's like, wow, like, do you as a character really think that little of yourself? I don't know. I get it. You can have fun, but but the show is supposed to be a comedy, and I just didn't think it was funny.
Yeah, and that's my
know.
point. Like, it's fine to have fun, but when your entire show over and over and over is infantile kindergarten shit, when you get to the fun infantile kindergarten shit, it's not cute anymore.
Right. It's not even funny, man.
It isn't. It's not funny at all. If you've done that your whole show and it's all like, I can take infantile humor when we do it from time to time, but when it's every single episode throughout every episode's runtime, when you get to the infantile shit that's supposed to be a part of the gag, it's not, the baby's not, then you got to throw the baby out with the bad bathwater because it's not cute anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just too many things about that show that just struggle. I mean, that show should be called She-Hulk the Struggle Bus because it's fighting. It is fighting so hard to be what it's not.
Well, it's too focused on, we gotta show them. We gotta show them. What are you showing us? That you're just as inept as men are? Like, really?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Whatever. I think the show's fucking trash. It's the worst show of the year. There's nothing that even the Rings of Power cannot be this bad.
Well, that's what's so funny is like, what was it? I think I read the tomato score yesterday was 84 critics and then 38 audience score.
I was gonna say
Wow.
that's the crack rock talking.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's like that's a pretty big difference, my guy. And it's not because, it's getting review bombed. I'm sure it was getting review bombed there at the end, but there's no way that everyone's still even paying attention and still review bombing it. I just think it's genuinely bad. And that's unfortunate to say. Like, I really wanted her to be super jacked and like be a really good character. And I think the girl that they picked to play her is a good She-Hulk. So if she comes back,
she's not the problem. It's her writing that she's
No,
been given.
exactly. And if she comes back into a movie and she's been giving better material, I think she can be a really good character. But just in her own show. And I love how they're like, oh, we'll show you guys, we'll throw more money at it and make season 2. It's like, dude, nobody asked for that. Nobody wants it. You know what I mean? It's okay. You can just finish it now. Just do something else.
And to that 83%, it doesn't help that on Sci-Fi Wire recently, which is a huge place for especially that era of people, one of the critics let the shit drop when and I'm sure he won't be working much more, but he let the tea spill about how, sometimes we gotta play ball and we gotta admit that a show is better than it really is, so we can continue to get invited to Marvel's big ass premieres. And she's like, even the interviewer was like, "Oh, excuse me, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, sometimes we gotta play ball with a show we know is inept and not very good to keep certain people appeased." Like he said, there'll be a time where I will put my foot down, I do it, but sometimes his exact words were, "You gotta play ball so you can continue to go to these big premieres." I was like, spoken like Grace Randolph and John Campea. Good job.
Makes sense, man. It makes sense.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You fucking sellout pieces of shit. That's why I and that's even reaffirms why I don't trust and hate Rotten Tomatoes. This was a guy who works for Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was pathetic.
And the tomato sauce thickens.
Yep. Couldn't believe I heard that on Sci-Fi Wire. I was like, if that's true, that probably is, but you shouldn't be putting that out in the atmosphere, dummy. I mean, you want to keep your job.
I mean, it kind of just confirms what we already know, though. But we just know the reason.
Nothing, but at least it's being confirmed by one of their fucking sellout lackeys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, less than a month until Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that looks good, man. Namor looks fantastic. It actually looks like a really good. It looks like a good Marvel film that's back to the roots of like.
I think it's top. It looks like top tier Marvel, even for that first trailer.
Not fucking time, man.
No dumbass jokes, all fantastic visuals, intense, and everyone already knows we're gonna
finally
see
getting my girl Riri. I can't wait.
What happened to T'Challa? They're gonna explain it somehow. So there's already an emotional, there's already such a huge emotional investment there as far as everything is concerned. So
and we get to see the debut of Ironheart, my girl Riri Williams. I cannot wait.
I know that show they're currently filming right now as well.
Yeah, I heard about that because I heard about especially Sacha Baron Cohen could be Mephisto confirmed.
Really?
Yeah, they announced 2 big announcements that Harrison Ford could end up replacing William Hurt's character as Red Hulk, and they're saying that it is very.
Did we lose him?
I think he froze. Yeah, that's okay. He'll come back in a second.
Yeah. So Harrison Ford possibly could be cast as General Thunderbolt Ross as the Red Hulk. That's pretty big. That would be huge if Marvel got Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
The guy who's not really into franchise movies. Oh, there you go. Are you back, Pinhead?
Well, I was like, it froze on my end, and I was okay. What were you saying? I missed it.
No, you were mentioning Harrison Ford possibly may get cast as General Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, and I was like, that's what I hear. Now I get. Yeah, I'm like, I thought you hated franchises.
Exactly.
It's like I thought
hate
you
that
like,
money.
Not that Disney check.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kevin must have dropped that big ass bag because.
Yeah. He's like, one more before I finally retire. Because he said Indiana Jones for Indiana Jones 5 at D23 weeks ago. He said that this is the last time I'm gonna fall down for you.
The dude's 80. Of course.
Yeah.
If he falls down again, he'll explode.
And I guess for the Red Hulk, I mean, you could easily he's gonna have a stunt double. He's just gonna do it, when he just needs to act all intense and angry and pissed off.
Maybe he'll just do
he's always that anyway.
Yeah, from what it sounded like, he's not even gonna do the motion cap like fucking Ruffalo does. He's just gonna do, and people are already doing the meme like what he'll look like, and some of them actually look really damn good. I'm like, I hope so. Yeah. The more intriguing factor is Sasha though, because I don't know much about Mephisto, but they're like acting like they're trying to work that in the Ironheart story for that series. The way the article talked, which it was like Hollywood Reporter, which is a reliable source. I was like, that's interesting. But from what they're saying and their sources, they're saying that Kevin Feige is really adamant about him being Mephisto.
If you're bringing in Mephisto, you got to bring in Ghost Rider. I feel like the two are bread and butter.
Who's gonna play him? Nick Cage again? Like
supposedly, they were saying Keanu Reeves may get Ghost Rider.
I heard about that. And what's his name from Walking Dead?
I don't know if I like that.
What's his name from Walking Dead? The guy
Dean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, apparently he's in the roster.
Comedian.
No, he's the long-haired dude. Oh my gosh, what's his name? He's the biker looking guy.
Norman Reedus.
Daryl.
Yeah. Yep, Norman.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little over Daryl though, thanks to my grandmother in The Walking Dead, but that's no knock on him, I guess. I mean, he already rides a motorcycle all over the fucking city anyway, on and off the set of Walking Dead, so why not?
Well, who's going to be really happy if Mephisto's finally coming to
yeah, that's why I wish he was here. I wish he was here right now.
Well, not just that, Kuya and Soups, our boy. Soups is going to be so excited.
You know what's funny is like that guy's he's still like heavy breathing over everything Marvel. It's like, dude, you could take a breath, dude. A nap is good sometimes. Refuels and regenerates your oxygen levels, and it's okay. You can take a breath.
All righty, well, that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One more stop, back to the DC universe. Oh shit, the DC universe.
Brown Adam.
There's this little movie called Black Adam that's coming out finally after so long. When The Rock was first announced to play Black Adam, the movie finally comes out,
and the experts are
on the 21st.
Well, the experts are already projecting this is going to be a box office bomb.
Really? With The Rock in it?
I read somewhere on. Yeah, I was like, Entertainment Tonight when that came out, and was like, they talked to somebody on Forbes. And I was like, with The Rock, they're projecting this is going to be one of the biggest box office bombs. I'm like, with The Rock?
Yeah, but I mean, Skyscraper was like an all-time box office hit with, the theaters. So like, of course, why wouldn't it, do terrible just like that movie Skyscraper he was in? Or Rampage or Jungle Cruise.
There is
but Jungle Cruise was shit, and I can say that because my grandmother had to see it.
Or San Andreas. I'm sorry, I could keep going. How many movies has he done?
There is a Hail Mary here. I don't know if you guys have already heard of it, because The Rock did talk about it at the premiere.
He was basically oozing it out, dude. Poor guy couldn't keep it together.
And I was like, you couldn't wait at least till the week of the movie, or I don't know, a few days after.
No. So he was just like, please watch the movie. I know that, like, I can't say who's gonna be in it, but like someone's gonna be in it. And it's like,
well, welcome home.
And he'll be home. And like, Henry, I really love you, man. Oh, my bad. I'm not supposed to say that.
So, when I first heard it, I'm like, I don't want to get too excited because it might be just some fucking asshole who's like starting up rumors. But supposedly they already had premieres in Mexico, and of course Thursday night, all over Twitter. I have not seen the scene yet because I want to save it for actually seeing the movie, which I will see it on Friday, on the 21st. because I figured, hey, while the kids are at school, I can catch an early screening of Black Adam, because I've actually, even without the confirmed appearance of Henry, even if he wasn't going to be in it, I was already see it anyway, because I like the characters. I've always been interested in Black Adam, Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and then of course you've got Atom Smasher and Cyclone, who I'm not very familiar with, but I'm like, hey, it's the JSA. I'm cool with it. I want to check it out. I've been hearing about The Rock wanting to play this role and how he's obviously been committed to it because he's been working on it. So yes, finally, Henry Cavill will be back officially as Superman. There is an end credit scene at the end of Black Adam. And it's a very quick scene. And the music that they use is the famous it's a hint of the John Williams theme, which really bothers me and irks me, because I'm like, that's not Henry Cavill's Superman's theme. Hans Zimmer made a great score and made a great theme, and it doesn't really work. But but
so
for
they
some
pretty
reason,
much just told Hans to go fuck himself, like.
But that's the thing, though. For some reason, Superman fans are like, it needs to be the John Williams theme. But wait a minute. Whenever we get a new Batman, doesn't a new Batman get a new theme? Like Robert Pattinson has his own theme. Oh, that's right. Ben Affleck's Batman has his own theme as well. They didn't demand that he use, what's his name? Oh my God. The 66 Batman's theme.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Oh, but then again, I stand myself corrected.
Yeah, no
Danny
Adam West
fucking,
there.
Danny fucking Elfman, who couldn't just, who had to just jerk himself off for the Justice League cut, had to insert the 89 Batman theme for Batfleck, a hint of it. And same with the Superman theme as well, but whatever.
I understand.
What do these so-called Superman fans care? They don't like Henry Cavill anyway, so what does it matter to them?
Right.
And so that's the thing. Like, I understand your frustration, Mike. I just think I'm gonna just, for argument's sake, I think that the reason why people hang on to that Superman theme so much is that it became iconic, like the Jaws theme and like the Star Wars theme. It became something so much more than just a random theme for a hero. It was like the pinnacle of heroism. And then it was just so iconic. You know what I mean? Even new generations have heard it because of how iconic it is. And while I agree it shouldn't be with a different Superman, but I don't mind them playing with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, and I agree as well.
I agree to that point, but at the same time, it also undermines the point, because now you're just using that iconic theme to get member berries and get asses in seats.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why you're doing it.
I agree with that.
You're not doing it because you genuinely respect the fucking lineage and legacy. You're doing it because you want to get asses in seats. So how does that work at the end of the day? Then?
I agree with that 100%. I do.
Right. So, but anyway, you know what? Either way, I'm just like, whatever. And again, I want to make myself clear. I love the John Williams classic theme. Like you said, it's iconic. I mean, it's made by John Williams, right? So either way, for me, it's still a big win. And I appreciate, and I have much more respect for The Rock and the new leadership, because he even came out and said the old Warner Brothers leadership, for 6 years, they were fighting to get Henry Cavill appear as Superman in Black Adam. The old leadership of Warner Brothers did not want that, did not want to make it happen. It's because of David Zaslav and the new leadership that they finally allowed things to happen. So, and The Rock fought for it, his producer, his manager, all these, people that were working behind the scenes. He confirmed it in one of the red carpet interviews. So I really appreciate that, because now he's even hinting at a Black Adam versus Superman. We may get it in the most likely a movie. I would like to see another Superman solo movie. That's what everyone wants to see. But at least we finally have The Rock to back everyone up, the fans up, and they're finally listening to the fans, because they've seen it on Twitter, they've seen it on social media. They want to see Henry Cavill back as Superman. I mean, what better way to bring him back than to introduce him? Even if it's a quick 5 seconds, I don't care. He's officially back. It's not exactly the restoring of the Snyderverse that I want and a lot of Snyder cult fans want, but hey, it's a step towards the right direction. And now I can finally breathe a little bit. I'm like, fucking finally, someone is listening and things are happening. So I'm much.
That's why I kind of like David, because it sounds like he's listening. At least he's listening a lot better than the last regime.
Exactly.
And with that being said, David, if you could listen to me, please cancel the Hellraiser HBO Max television series, because David Gordon Green, by proven with Halloween, he's fucking inept. Don't let him touch it. Please just axe that piece of shit officially. Thank you.
Yeah. And another thing, my only complaint with this whole like finally revealing Henry Cavill is back officially as Superman in Black Adam, I kind of wish that they actually had Henry Cavill appear at that Black Adam panel presentation at Comic-Con, because had they done that, it would have the excitement, not just in person at that event, but all over social media, it would have broken the internet, at least for a few hours, until Marvel, dropped that Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. It would have gotten everyone that much more excited to see Black Adam, and I get it. They wanted to save it, whatever. That's fine.
I agree, but like my argument would be like, I think they were here's two arguments, right? Argument number one is they were trying to save it and The Rock blew his head open and just couldn't hold it together.
Right.
Or it was like, okay, finally at the very, 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 very end, we're greenlit. Let's get him in. Let's get the scene done quick and let's announce it. You know what I mean? Could be one of those two.
I think that the filming of this scene happened earlier this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And supposedly Henry Cavill has also, they were filming pickup shoots for The Flash, which Ezra Miller also had to do. And supposedly Henry Cavill may have also been involved with that.
Okay.
So when I heard that, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get too excited. But, now that he's officially in Black Adam, who's to say that we're not going to see him there as well? I mean, we're only going to see fucking General Zod and Feora, so supposedly in The Flash, and his cousin, Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. So why not the man himself? Like, holy shit. So, but, either way, I'm excited. I'm going to see it on opening day. I hope it does well, because this is a big movie, as far as DC and for DC fans. So we'll see what happens. And I think also, of course, they're banking on people who want to see Henry Cavill back as Superman to go see. But then that's the thing, like they should have the perfect moment to have done that was at Comic-Con. And actually have, blow everyone's minds off and have Henry Cavill, have The Rock introduce Henry Cavill on stage back officially as Superman. But oh well, it already happened. That's fine. We're moving on now. So here we go. Hopefully this does lead to a solo Superman movie. Black Adam versus Superman. We got to get Shazam in there somehow. So, but yeah, if for those of you who are listening, if you have not seen the Shazam Superman animated movie on HBO Max, check it out. It may give you a good idea if we do get something like that in live action. Just imagine how awesome, and as a full-length movie, just imagine how awesome it could be. So there you go. That's pretty much it. That's the show. It's great to be back and to have you back, Pinhead, even for an episode. So hopefully we get to have you.
Yeah, I'll probably be back on the next one too. So
yeah, baby.
Nice.
Granted, is my internet doesn't keep crashing into the fucking sea like the lost city of Atlantis, but
I thought it did good. I thought it did good, honestly.
well, at the last, right here, right at this last act, it keeps fucking up. It's pissing me off, but
it's all good.
It's
done
We're
pretty
wrapping
well.
up, so it doesn't matter. So, but I probably will be back for the next episode because I gotta talk about what happened on my birthday, and if I get to see Barbarian, I gotta talk about it. So.
Absolutely, bro.
Nice.
Because I can't believe it's actually coming this quickly to HBO Max.
Oh yeah. Speaking of birthdays, the podcast, we just celebrated 2 years of podcasting last September 30th.
Oh my gosh, has it been
International
that long already?
Podcast Day.
That's what I said, Jester. I was like, no.
So
2 years.
It's been 2 years. So Belated happy
Wow.
birthday to the podcast. Thank you to
Yeah.
all the listeners, all the viewers who are watching, or the few that are.
Do we still have an audience? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, really.
We do.
Really?
Yeah.
You still get comments and stuff?
I haven't uploaded a video in a while, mostly just
Okay.
the audio.
Okay.
But yeah, we're still getting listens and views. So I mean, that's
Well,
pretty cool.
I genuinely want to say thank you to whoever's listening to this. Like, that's really sweet of you guys to like listen to us just ramble for 2 hours, 3
I know. I
hours.
appreciate you guys sitting through this fucking monotonous, crazy shit. Because you're
That's
better
cool.
men than we are, I tell you.
That's awesome.
And
man.
women. I'm sure we got some ladies who like my foul mouth, especially.
And at that moment when they heard that, they'd be like, "That's it, I'm done."
He said ill about our She-Hulk. Fuck him.
Well, alrighty. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for joining me. It's been fun.
So much
Yep.
fun.
We
And
missed you, Korea.
quite the golden age. I mean, quite a time to have House of the Dragon, Andor, Rings of Power. Whatever you say, She-Hulk, or all these, just so much content at the same.
Hellraiser, Halloween. We're just
Yeah,
living it up over here.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
alrighty. See you all soon. Thank you again. Stay safe
Peace.
out there.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.